Anyone else from the public? Do I have a motion to close the public?
Motion to close?
Second? Roll call, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? So it moves. Next, we're going to the engineer's report. Michael?
Okay, good evening. Thank you for the reappointment and look forward to working with the council going forward this year. Just a couple items to report this evening. I'm sure maybe most of you have been down Maple Avenue. We completed the paving, all of the exceptional line striping, and in the springtime we'll be back there to do the seeding. I wrote it, and it turned out pretty nice, really smooth, and I think the contractor did a great job. So there was a question in the public session regarding Fifth Avenue. We had a pre-construction meeting on December 10th, spoke to the contractor, and given the weather, it's probably going to be an early spring project going forward. So the DOT was there, we did all the paperwork, all the necessary submittals were submitted, so once the weather breaks, we'll start construction. Obviously, we'll make the residents of the street aware, we'll hand out notices, and give everybody notification once the project begins. And then lastly, our crew completed the field work for this year's project at South Jersey Avenue and 13th. We're currently drafting the existing conditions, work on the design, submit that to DOT, look to have that as a late spring, early summer project. So probably have 2 road jobs completed by the summer this year.
Does anyone have any questions?
Open the public for questions of the engineer. Make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you, that was very kind.
Motion to close the public.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right,
All right.
thank you
Good
very much
evening.
for coming
Thank
out,
you.
appreciate
Good
it.
night.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Next is the bill list. Do I have a motion?
Motion to accept the bill list
Second?
In the amount of?
in the amount of $326,120.24.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, roll call please.
Ms. Sparks?
Yeah.
Ms. Masker?
Yes.
Mr. Lampkin?
Yes.
Mr. Dilge?
Yes.
Mayor Allen?
Yes. Thank you. Next, we have the meeting minutes from November 3rd, 2021. A regular meeting, and the minutes from December 1st, 2021, regular meeting. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes?
Make a motion to accept.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any of those opposed?
I have a question. I'm sorry, I have a question
Back
to
up.
the solicitor. I'm not accustomed to folks who weren't present at the meeting voting the minutes. Is that,
They actually should not vote the minutes.
so then we don't have a quorum
Well,
sufficient to accept it?
the doctrine of necessity would then come into play, and we would reduce the quorum.
Okay. So then, please enunciate who should and should not vote.
You were here.
I was here for November, I wasn't here through the end of December.
Ms. Owen
No,
was
December.
here. Ms. Masker was here.
Yeah, but in December, I didn't.
All right, so let's do it separately.
Yeah, do it separately.
All right, so I need you to,
I make a motion to accept November's minutes as I can.
Second. I second.
Well, it fails. The first
Okay,
motion
fair,
fails.
Okay.
all right,
And
so,
Mr. Dilge seconded.
all right, so can I have a, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed and
Any
abstentions?
opposed?
Those
Any
who weren't
abstentions?
present should abstain.
Yeah, anybody who was not present should abstain. All right, so can I have a motion for the December minutes? I'll make a motion to accept the December minutes of the regular meeting. Do I have a second?
How do we do that?
Was there nobody else present?
She was the only person, the only member who was here throughout for the entire meeting,
But you were there in the beginning, weren't you?
in the beginning.
And then,
All right, I'll second it.
You can do that. Then only you two vote.
Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? No. Okay.
Abstain.
All right, so, do you have any other correspondence?
No, of course.
Okay. Now we're gonna move on to ordinance 2020-22.
Can I explain that, Madam
Yes,
Mayor?
absolutely.
All right, the title of the ordinance is ordinance 1 of 2022, amending chapter 315, soil removal of the code of the city of Estell Manor, county of Manor, state of New Jersey. For those of you that have been here through the year, you'll recall that one of the corporate citizens of Estell Manor has asked the city to review that particular provision because the Estell Manor Code is not consistent with the regulations of the Pinelands. So the purpose of this is first reading. This is not adopting the ordinance, it's simply the first reading. What it will do is it will result in this issue being on the next agenda, where there will be a full public hearing and probably some testimony from engineers relative to this particular ordinance. But the ordinance is simply to make our regulations consistent with Pinelands. And we had, in fact, we had engineers here at a prior meeting.
Yes, we do.
So, just so council's aware, you're not adopting the ordinance tonight, you're just moving it for first reading so you can have a public hearing, you can hear from the public and hear from the individual who's making the request at the next meeting.
This is to remove soil from somewhere?
There's an existing sand and gravel pit that under our code can be excavated to 15 feet. Under Pinelands, it could be excavated to 65 feet. So the
So you want to increase the amount that you could excavate it?
correct. But this is, if you're interested in it, you'll have a chance to hear the experts and to provide your input at the public hearing. This is not adopting it, it's just simply putting it on the table for discussion at the next meeting.
Okay.
What's the date of the public hearing?
It'll be at the first Wednesday in February.
Yeah, it would be,
Not sure the date.
that's what I'm looking at right now. First Wednesday of February would be the second, February 2nd.
And anyone who's interested in getting a copy of this ordinance can certainly get that from the city clerk.
Do I have a motion for the first reading of ordinance 1/2022?
Make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? All those opposed?
Yeah, I think
That's
we
a roll call.
really need a roll call.
Okay, all right.
Ms. Sparks?
Yes.
Ms. Masker?
Yes.
Mr. Lampkin?
Yes.
Mr. Dilch?
Yes.
Mayor Allen?
Yes. All right, so that'll be on the agenda for the public hearing on February the 2nd. Next, we have Resolution 30-2022, recommending a non-passing lane on Route 666. So a little bit about that. For public safety concerns, I was approached to have the area on Route 66 from Cumberland Avenue to 8th Avenue made as a non-passing zone because the school's there and also the fire department is there. So this resolution is to request of the county to designate that area as a non-passing zone. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Do we have any discussion?
Makes sense to me.
Alright, so, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Resolution passes. So, speaking of earlier, with the resolution 31-2022,
Madam Mayor, I think you should table that
that's, okay.
at this point, and if the opportunity presents itself, you can certainly bring the resolution back up.
Okay, all right. Let's move on to resolution 32-2022, suspending court operations due to county court. I'm gonna defer to Mr. Lafferty, so he can explain to you what that is if you're not aware.
So, you may have read in the paper or heard on the news that Atlantic County is a pilot county in the implementation of a county-wide municipal court. Just by way of background, the municipal court system has become a burden on municipalities since 2017 because of the fact that there are certain bail reforms and other reforms. So what's happened is they've become an economic detriment to the local community. You have a regional municipal court that you share with Weymouth, but they're expensive. So the county implemented a program, and it's the first in the state, of a central county municipal court. The court will be based in Mays Landing, it will be based in the Old County Courthouse right on Main Street. In reality, a lot of it's gonna be virtual, because since the pandemic, the courts have found that virtual municipal court works. So it's going to be operated at that central location. For the next 3 months, there has been a little bit of a glitch in that because of the delays in products getting shipped, the HVAC system is not ready. So they've set up satellite courts in Hamilton Township, Egg Harbor Township, and Galloway Township for the next 3 months in order to operate the courts. Any trials will happen in the criminal courthouse in Mays Landing on Unami Boulevard. So the purpose of this resolution is to suspend your court operations of your regional court. All of your files have already been transferred to the county system. It was actually on the state system for years, so there really wasn't a lot, but your personnel now have been moved to those 3 satellite locations. I recommended suspending the court operations rather than an ordinance disbanding your court, because we all hope the county court, the central court works, but sometimes things don't work. So rather than have to go through the recreation of a court system, I recommended to the mayor that the court remain in place but suspended for right now to make sure that the county system works. So this resolution will suspend the operations of your Estell Manor Regional Court.
All right, do I have a motion?
If I may shed some light on that there, Mr. Lafferty, quite honestly, you're gonna have to do an ordinance to dissolve the court. We've discussed this over and over with the committee. By the way, Mr. Earlwood, now the mayor of Northfield, and myself, are the lead mayors, have discussed all of this stuff. And quite frankly, you have to do the ordinance. Secondly, you can enter into a contract with the county for 2 years to be doing this. So how could you keep the court intact?
Mr. Venezia, this was done on the recommendation of the administration of the court. Egg Harbor Township has done the same thing. Galloway Township has done the same thing.
Well, then they backtracked what was discussed
Are we
in our
open to
committee.
the public?
No.
We are not open to the public right now.
I'm aware of it.
So do I have a motion for resolution 32-2022, suspending court operations due to county court?
I make a motion, we adopt 32-2022.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? It's passed. Resolution 33-2022, budget transfers. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Do I have a second? Any discussion? Okay, can I have a roll call, please?
Ms. Sparks?
Yes.
Ms. Metzger,
Yes.
Mr. Lampkin,
Yes.
Mr. Dilch,
Yes.
Mayor Ellen.
Yes. It has moved. All right, next is old business. First on the agenda for old business is the turkey trot. Ms. Masker, can you?
Yes, so Thanksgiving morning, we held the first annual turkey trot. I thought it was a fantastic success. You never know with these things, it could have been Betsy, myself, but we had about 30 people turn out. The weather really cooperated. It was a great event, really was. Very, very happy, and looking forward to next year's.
Absolutely, yes. Thank you. Municipal court.
There's nothing to add other than what I've already said, Mayor.
I'd add something. We effectively, by virtue of the suspension of our court, we dismissed the court clerk and the, I guess, deputy court clerk or assistant court clerk without any fanfare or any recognition. I think it'd be a good idea if we recognize them some way. They were good to us for a very long, especially Tony Tillman was with us for a very long time. Did a great job as far as I know. I've never heard a bad thing about her. We should show our gratitude. The city of Estell Manor and its residents should show their gratitude in some way. And best of my understanding, nobody even stopped by to say goodbye when they were packing up their office. So what might folks suggest? Plaques, flowers, both?
I think both, yeah.
Both? Okay.
And just so you know, Mr. Dilge, Ms. Tubman is the lead administrator for the county central court system.
Okay. How about if the personnel committee oversees that? Mayor, is that a good idea?
That's a great idea.
All right.
All right. Next thing is the League of Municipalities. Mr. Village, can you?
So in November, it was the annual convention of the New Jersey League of Municipalities in Atlantic City for 3 days. The mayor and Mrs. Masker and I, current mayor, Mrs. Owen, and Mrs. Masker and I attended. We attended several different seminars together. We attended the seminar on ethics. I think we may together have attended the seminar on master planning, and there was another one on obstacles and something, I forget what it was. On the day that the three of us were there together, I can't speak to what Mrs. Owen and Mrs. Masker may have attended on the other 2 days when I was not there. But it was a good, for coming out of COVID, you know, understanding that the prior year there hadn't been one. It was well attended. There was lively discussion. I especially liked the panel discussion on ethics. I've been to that same panel discussion in the past and still took some new things from it. So it was time well spent, I think.
Thank you, Mr. Village. Under new business, a workshop meeting. We are going to, how does everyone feel about doing workshop meetings once a month, like the third Wednesday of the month?
I feel great about that.
Anyone else have any concerns on that, discussion? All right.
Did we say what
Workshop
time?
meetings?
Yes.
What's a workshop meeting? Sorry, I'm ignorant to a lot of these things, I don't know the terminology.
A workshop meeting is a meeting that we would get together as council and we could discuss any items that we need to discuss. It's no decisions are made at that time, but this way that actually prepares us for the next meeting when we can make a decision. So
Oh, it's
we
like a
can-
little board meeting, a little bit.
It's, yeah, but that is actually open to the public also.
Oh,
So
it
you
is?
still can
Yeah.
come and attend to that.
Oh, cool, okay, sorry, I don't know all
No,
these terms,
that's
so.
okay.
Did we decide what time?
7. All meetings are at 7
7.
o'clock.
All right, so,
The purpose is to make, so that the monthly meeting isn't 3 or 4 hours long. Particular pieces of business, like, that you might find, for example, on the agenda tonight, we'll get into greater detail at a workshop meeting,
Okay,
kind of dial down the 5 of us and work it out, so to speak,
I
without
like
taking
that,
up
'cause I
everybody.
feel like I could learn a little bit more about what some of these things are.
Go on in.
Alright,
absolutely.
awesome, thank you.
Go on in.
Interesting how you're so adamantly opposed to it for 2 years and now you
Mr.
want to.
Benjamin, the meeting is not open to the public.
I'm aware of that. I'm aware of everything you do.
Number, the second thing, participation in community day and budget. So I wanted to discuss, in the past, we have participated in the community day along with the Historic Society. the more the merrier kind of thing. That works the best. In the past, they've had vendors there for selling things, they've had, food trucks, ice cream, the Wackle opened their shop up and they sold stuff out of there. So that was just something that all the community could come together, socialize a bit, and just have some fun together. So,
Well, you want to discuss the budget? Okay. Discuss it, make a decision, and then make a motion.
okay.
And you will call it.
Okay, so I want to discuss with everyone, do we want to participate in that?
Is there one coming up in the spring?
Yes, it is May 21st.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. That was off the top of my head. So,
Can I ask, is it going to be similar to the one in the fall, where you have
Yeah.
the Chinese auction art? That was a nice time.
yes, yes.
So what, are we participating as?
Well, what we would do as council, that would go under the committee for special events.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be under the, hang on a second. That would be the public one, so that would be, myself and Mr. Dilch.
Mhm.
But for something like that, if someone didn't, like if one of us didn't want to participate that way, for the meetings and the planning, another person could step in for them. Or it might be something that we would want to, maybe Mr. Dilge attends one meeting, and I do, maybe the next meeting someone else does with any kind of duties that, say we were, responsible to take care of, that we would transfer the information to you, so you could present it at the next meeting, and we could do it all as a group.
Okay.
Okay? All right, so does that sound good that we participate in that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can I have a motion to set a budget for the participation in the community day?
I make a motion, we set a budget of $1,000 for Community Day.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Can I have a roll call, please?
Ms. Sparks?
Wait, wait, wait.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Question.
discussion.
Do we have a member of the community that's appointed chair
Oh,
of that effort?
thank you very much for reminding me. Yes, in the past, it has been Lisa Perillo. I'm hoping that we can count on her once again to chair that event. So I guess
We don't want to put you on the spot.
nothing, no, not with a whole audience.
I am honored and I gratefully accept.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you so much, I appreciate it. So any discussion on the budget? Is there any way we could go up to 1,100?
I amended to $1,100.
Thank you.
Does the second accept the amendment?
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Sparks?
Yes.
Ms. Masker?
Yes.
Mr. Lampkin?
Yes.
Mr. Dilch?
Yes.
Mayor Ellen?
Yes. Thank you. So, the next item, funds for a new ambulance for the DV, Dorothy Volunteer Fire and Rescue. Fire Company. So, I think it was in November's meeting, Mr. Hazer, it was December, Mr. Hazer came in and asked us to attend a meeting that we could talk about giving money out of our CARES Act funds to that, so they could purchase a new ambulance. So that has not happened, nothing has happened like that, we have not had a meeting yet. I'm just bringing it up that we will probably have a meeting, one of us along with Dorothy. All right. Do I have a motion to open to?
Well, but I would think also, if I may add to that,
Sure,
may I add to it?
absolutely, absolutely.
I think that that'll be a workshop item, and by the time of our workshop 2 weeks from tonight, there'll be a lot to talk about on that. Dorothy Volunteer Fire Company's ask is large. I've had some informal discussion with Chief Hand. Their ask is large. I'm inclined to support it, but I think anyone of our residents, whom you may know of our residents, who might have interest in that subject or in that particular expense, might want to attend the workshop meeting 2 weeks from tonight. There'll be a lot of discussion around it. and we may very well act to meet their ask.
Is that date's on the website?
It's be the 19th.
Okay, the 19th, okay.
We should,
Is it here?
yes, 7 o'clock.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, do I have a motion to open for the public?
Motion to open the public.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, does anybody have a public comment?
Jane Olson, 164 7th Avenue East. Just wondering, are we moving toward hiring a clerk anytime soon?
Yes.
Okay, and once again, the agenda wasn't on the website, and there's a lot of things missing from the website, like soil needs updated, so, you know, people get their information there, then that's helpful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Condo? Would you state your name and your address, please?
Joseph Condo, 83 Maple Avenue. For starters, you love hitting that button, don't you? Try to keep me to 3 minutes. Go ahead. Mayor Owen, congratulations to you. Councilwoman Masker, Councilman Lamke, congratulations to you as well. Councilman Dilge, I want to recount because it looked like the council members were being coerced. Not for me there, but Councilwoman Sparks, God bless you for putting up with these things. You're going to keep straight, right? No. But more than that, thank you. I know I've had this conversation with each one of you before. Thank you. No one wants to do what you do, but you do it. The hours, the time, the stress. You're sitting around waiting for that phone call where somebody calls you and says, you did a hell of a job this week. Forget it, you ain't getting that phone call. You're not going to get that phone call. So thank you for doing what you do so that the rest of us don't have to do what you do. And we have every faith in the world you're going to do a fantastic job. The good news is I get to come to one of these meetings a year because we can trust you're going to do a good job and we don't have to look over your shoulders. Thank you all and God bless you.
Thank you.
Go ahead, hit the button.
Anyone else from the public? Mr. Crowe?
Thank you. I'm going to good-naturedly disagree somewhat with Mr. Condo, just that constant vigilance is part of citizenship, and so people coming out is a good thing. And so therefore more awareness, because that will hopefully prevent misinformation. On that front, you may want to consider, as the staffing situation gets stabilized, having Zoom or one of the other services added to the meetings, at least to make that a little easier. What I do with Facebook and YouTube does get some audience, but it may be better to have that broader, and also obviously we're not totally sure where we're going to be with Omicron and the rest. For the soil removal, I guess that'll go to the planning board for their consideration, since it's a land use thing. So just those of you that are going to be at the reorg meeting, to make sure that they see it, so therefore they can give hopefully their assent, and then you can move forward with it. You may want to contact Commissioner Bertino unless something changed on Tuesday. Your local district freeholder is the chair of the Roads and Bridges Committee for the county, and can probably help guide you through the process of changing the passing rules on 666. Email will be going out either tonight or first thing in the morning about the newsletter. We had put it off for December for various reasons, and then January we've had New Year's and snow and more snow and all the rest. So we're hoping to get newsletter submissions by next Tuesday, that then we can get that out shortly thereafter, and we will try to make it to where everybody would get it by the 19th for the next workshop meeting, if that all works out. Finally, on a note about civility, I'm I'm just going to say that you folks were more gracious in dealing with various interruptions that happened before. And hopefully that won't wind up being abused. But in the meantime, as a contrast, I'll note that, and we'll see how it goes in the future. And with that, Happy New Year.
Anyone else from the public? Mr. Gossett?